In these perilous times, see from current events how biblical prophecy is coming to pass in front of our eyes. You're watching In the Last Days, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. With Martin and Natalie Blackham, thank you to our friends and partners who make this program possible. Now, here's Martin and Natalie.
Hi, welcome to the In the Last Days television program with myself, Martin Blackham. Natalie Blackham is behind the scenes today, but she says hello to you. With a program that covers Israel, the news and features from Israel, together with a teaching from Hebrew. And one of the things that's been in the news recently was a course, an internet course that's been launched by Gidon Ariel, who's our guest today, on the internet. And it's going to be teaching Christians by Jews from Israel who are going to be teaching the Torah and different things. So it's very exciting. Thanks so much for coming into the studio today, Gidon. Great to have you with us.
It's a pleasure
You're
to be
welcome.
here. Beautiful place you've got here.
And we welcome you to all our friends from the United Kingdom who are watching today and across the world. Gidon Ariel is originally from New York and emigrated to Israel, made Aliyah in 1978. Gidon served for 20 years in the Armored Tank Corps of the Israeli Army and is currently a captain in the reserves of the military spokesman's office. He is a member of the Likud Central Committee and has previously, in the past, run against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for the presidency of the Likud Party convention, as well as being involved in the Likud Party. He was the mayor of Mali Adamin's advisor for international affairs. Gidon is the owner of several web-based marketing businesses and has been working with Christian organizations in Israel, the United States and internationally since 2005. He's the co-founder and director of the Holy City Press Society and the chairman, CEO of Roots Source, a Jewish Christian educational internet resource site, which has recently had its launch at the Menachem Begin Center in Jerusalem and has been featured on the news. And indeed, the Times of Israel, if I can just get that on the camera, says rabbis teaching Christians in new online learning courses. And this is breaking news from Israel. It says, Root Sources kicks off a new day in Jewish-Christian relations. So let's start with that, Gidon, straight away, and the root source. And indeed, maybe you can tell us a bit about it and how it started.
Well, like you said, Root Source, that's root-source. It's a new organization that, as we say in Hebrew, Ech lo chashvu al ze kodem. How did we not think of that before? Christians and Jews have been very interested in the Word of God, Jewish history, Jewish concepts for a long, long time. But and the internet, of course, has been around for a long, long time, for about 20 years or something like that, and it's getting more and more. In fact, that some would even say that the proliferation of the internet is a sign of the time, a sign of the end times even. But to connect the teachings of God through the internet, specifically for Christians, by Jews in Israel, is something that we actually haven't seen yet. So I'm very blessed that together with my partner, Bob Odell from Austin, Texas in the United States, we're starting to build this out and it's expanding tremendously. So
if we can talk about Bob for 1 second, because what's interesting about the root source, and we'll be giving you details for our friends at home, how you can access this. We'll put on the screen, we'll put the website so you can go on it and have a look. If you're not able to access the internet, go to the library and have a look, because you can access it at a public library.
Internet,
for some of our friends who may not have a computer at home, ask the librarian to help you to look at this, because it'll really be a blessing to you. Now, Bob Odell, because that's very interesting, because this is a new project, but also it's very interesting that it's not just a Jewish project, but it's also a Christian project as well. So tell us how Bob Odell and yourself, and maybe a bit of the story of that.
Bob Odell is a Christian, like I said, from the United States. He had been working in computer technology, high tech, for 20 or 30 years. And actually, for about 10 or 20 years, he was working in Motorola, one of the top high tech companies, with Israelis who are also working in Motorola. Everybody knows that Israel is one of the leaders of high tech in the world. So Bob had a boss who, for a while, was in Israel, and they had a team that was in Israel, and Bob and his boss decided, you know what, we want to try to start something on our own. So they worked together. Bob would come to Israel frequently, and ultimately it was an Israeli high-tech success story, because they sold the company that they started for about $250 million, which was, I hear the television audience saying ooh and ah. Even the walls here are falling off of their chairs. But ultimately, Bob recognized that even though it was very exciting to have a connection with Israel, and with Jewish people especially, he felt that he wanted a bigger connection with Jews who recognized God, Jews who took God seriously, who took the Jewish religion seriously, the Torah seriously. And he prayed to God and said, I want to use my experience as a businessman to help an Orthodox Jewish man in Israel to succeed with his business. And the next day, we met. Wow. And we met with, on one of Christine Darg's tours in Israel. I'm sure that you've had her on a few times, and very good friend of mine. And I told her group before I met Bob, I want, just as I've been teaching groups in Israel about the Torah, about Israel, Jewish themes, Jewish concepts, I want to do that on the internet. You could call it an internet-based Christian yeshiva, a Jewish academy study program for Christians. Well, everybody in the room gasped because they said, this is just what we've been looking for. Bob walked over to me and said, I'd really like to help you.
I think a lot of people at home who are watching and be saying, you know, this is something that that has been a desperate need for Christians to have their faith deepened and go back into their Jewish roots and have this, you know, they're coming to Israel, which is very good, but there's a demand for having deeper knowledge, I think.
That's actually our slogan, learn deeper, reach higher. And you're waiting for the end of the program for me to read a verse from Isaiah, but I'm going to give you a little surprise here. I'm going to read it now, because this is really what we see as, let me first read the verse. Ve'alchu amim rabim. I'll translate it as I read it. Ve'alchu amim rabim, many nations shall go, and they will say, ve'amru, lechu v'na'aleh el har Adonai. Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord. El Beit Elohei Yaakov. Let us go up to the home or the house of the God of Jacob. V'yorenu midrachav, he will teach us from his ways. V'nelcha be'ochotav, we will walk in his ways. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, for out of Zion shall come Torah. U'devar Adonai miYerushalayim, the word of God will come out from Jerusalem. Now, when I told this verse, this is a famous verse amongst Orthodox Jews. We sing it every time we take the Torah out of the Holy Ark. An Orthodox friend of mine said, what's all this stuff of teaching Christians? We're supposed to teach Jews. Why do you have to teach Christians? I said, well, it just says so in Isaiah. He said, don't you know, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, for out of Zion shall come the Torah? He said, yeah, okay, but that's for Jews. I said, no, we just read the verse. It's the nations. And the idea of Jews teaching non-Jews, all of the nations, about the God of Israel is the Jewish people's mandate, and always has been since we first made the covenant on the Mount Sinai, even beforehand, from Abraham. But what can we do? For these thousands of years, we've been a little bit busy surviving. But now here we are in Israel, and we are now able, thank God, with the strength that he has given us, to look and return to what we're supposed to be doing. And I really think that this is what we're supposed to be doing. We've got plenty to do here in Israel. Every week, you've got another leader on explaining the challenges of living here and the challenges that the world faces. And thank God a lot of these leaders live here in Israel. But it seems to me that this is my calling, to put a little initiation of teaching Christians all over the world, because the Christians are the first people to learn about the Word of God from the house of Jacob in the land of Israel. From Zion shall come out the Torah.
It's like being a light unto the goyim, to the nations.
The light unto the nations. You're absolutely right. That's what I mentioned, the covenant from Sinai.
Now, what's very interesting, the other thing is that with the project, you know, it had its launch at the Menachem Begin Center, yes, which was very prestigious, and it's really an important place where, you know, the government press office uses it, mm-hmm, and it was a fantastic celebration, the launch. But what was amazing was so many different teachers. The Roots course has. You've got so many. You've managed to recruit so many rabbis. How did you do that?
How do we say? You ain't seen nothing yet. It wasn't easy to recruit these first teachers. Thank God I have been. I've got a lot of friends here. I've been living here in Israel, for, as you said, about 36 years. I was very happy also to live in Ma'aleh Adumim, just outside of Jerusalem, for about 20 years, and a lot of lovely, smiling, happy, wanting to help people and rabbis and teachers have been my friends. So I turned to some of them, and some of them said, yes, we'd love to, and others said, well, I don't know, Christians, Jews, I don't know, Gidon. And that's, you know, because the Jewish-Christian relationship has, shall we say, been not optimal for the past 2,000 years. So to change something that's been a certain way for 2,000 years, it is a little hard.
And there's two things that I see here. Is number one is the Christian-Jewish relationship, yes, which has been traumatic through the centuries. Mm-hmm. There have been, you know, Christians who've done amazing works for Israel, and I think of you know, there was British soldiers who were Christians who came here and helped with the start of the nation of Israel, yes, and the IDF. Yes. But basically there has been, you know, 2,000 years of quite a difficult relationship. Plus there is also the worry of assimilation. In other words, the Jewish nation has finally got its state, has finally come back to the land, but is afraid that they might, you know, the assimilation is a big fear, I would say, amongst rabbis, and maybe
the whole earth is shaking because of this fear.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I imagine that's one of the.
I think, Martin, that you're using a euphemism. The word that you used a few times is assimilation, and really, this is. I don't usually like to talk about things. I like to be smiling and everything, but the word is missionizing and proselytization. The Jewish people have a unique system of faith, belief, and understanding and relationship with God. And understandably, evangelical Christians, and that's what their name means. Evangelical means spreading the good news. They want to spread the news to everyone. That's what their mandate is. And as, of course, the New Testament says, to the Jew first. So the best thing that you can do is try to convince a Jew to become a believer in Yeshua, to become a believer in Jesus. But you have to think from the Jew's perspective that, you know, if I don't want to buy something, then please don't sell it to me. This is an issue that we don't deal with in Root Source, and in a moment I'll say why. But in general, that is, as you said, a sore point about Christians in Israel. It's a sore point for the leaders who are here in Israel, and especially for their supporters and the Christian leaders here in Israel, like yourselves, and especially for many of their followers and supporters abroad, because they say, you're there, you're like in a gold mine, what are you waiting for? This is what you have to do. Yeah, if you love Jews, then you have to bring them to Christ. This is a difficult issue that maybe we can talk about some other time.
And I think basically it comes down to being sensitive, you know, that if people, and respect, and I think those two issues are the key, you know, that we are sensitive with the people, whoever they are, whatever their background, that we're sensitive with them and respectful of their background. And I think, you know, that this is a very important point as we finish on it and come to the next one. But it's, you know, that if you want to be involved in anything, then you should be respectful of the people and you know, take take them as they are and not, you know, try and force things upon them. I think that's the.
If I can just get the last word in. I've met a lot of Christians who try to say, Gidon, have you heard of Isaiah 53, for example? Try to get me, and I tell them, listen, are you a born-again Christian? Absolutely. Do you believe in Jesus? Sure. How did you come about your belief? He said, well, Jesus himself came to me. I said, so do you expect anything less from him about me? So what we have to do is truly believe in God and let God take care of these end times in the way that he sees is correct, and not the way that we want to force him into what's correct. And I think, and I'm so happy to have so many of my very good friends are pro-Israel Christians here in Israel, and those who come from abroad in order to learn about Israel, in order to be friends, because that is what God wants, for his children to play nicely.
And we got onto this point because of talking about maybe, you know, we have to, which is very important, you know, that we've got rabbis coming on board and we have to be sensitive. You know, this is a big thing. Maybe, you know, there haven't been many projects where this has been tried, and so this is very important that we just be sensitive when we're doing that. Now, when people go on the site, and we're going to be putting on the screen how you can log on to Root Source and go to have lessons. Maybe you can tell us a bit about what kind of lessons there are and who's teaching them, and I think that'll be very interesting.
I got a little bit off on sidetracked on what this whole world is coming to, but if I can get back into about Root Source, it was a little bit hard to get those first teachers. In general, people don't really like to try new things, you know. But now that we've got these first great teachers, and we have about a dozen teachers online already, amongst them, one of the best known of our teachers is Rabbi Yehuda Glick, who you've had on the program, and you're good friends of his as well. And he is teaching, for example, the temple in the Bible. Very fascinating course that he's teaching, especially for Root Source. We've got another teacher, Rabbi Ilan Adler, a good friend of mine from Ma'aleh Adumim, teaching Ethics of the Fathers, Chapters of the Fathers. Fascinating Jewish wisdom that is truly good for universal audience. We've got somebody teaching Hebrew. We've got somebody teaching the book of Proverbs. These are the initial teachings, and I'm teaching prayer and Moses as the optimal leader. But what we're looking forward to is having more and more Jewish teachers recognizing that this is our mandate as the Jewish people and as teachers to teach outwards. So I'm looking forward to having Root Source being sort of like a YouTube for Jewish teachers teaching Christians worldwide on the internet.
Now, when the people log on to the course, can they interact with the teachers? Is there any way they can do that?
We haven't yet figured out how to overcome the time zone differences. We're working on it. But until then, our teachers record one lesson every week, about a 10 to 15 minute long lesson in whatever the topic of their channel is. The people who sign on and we give a free month's trial of all of the classes. But the teachers that you are interested in continuing with, and even the ones during your free trial, you're invited to reach out to them through email, on the website, through Skype. Any way that's good for you is good for us, because the most important thing for Root Source with Israeli Jews teaching Christians worldwide is relationship. And so we're very happy to have people reach out to us and not be ashamed to ask their questions, because as the sages, the Jewish sages have said, Lo hakapdan lamed, a strict person cannot be a teacher, velo habaishan lomed, a bashful person cannot learn. So we want people to be brave and courageous in their questions and calm and soothing in their teachings.
And it's amazing because it's actually fulfilling, you know, like Ask the Rabbi, you know, you can actually have an opportunity to put questions. And normally, I guess, you're looking for questions on the course. That's
of course. But we get a lot of different questions as well. You know, there are a lot of sources on the internet. Aisha Torah, for people who have noticed that. Jerusalem Post has a lot of English Torah things going on. Chabad. But all of these resources are Jews reaching out to other Jews. But what do you know? The elephant in the room, the secret is that 40, 50, 60, 70% of their audience are Christians. So some of these teachers come to terms with that. I'm sure that a lot of them have been saying, oh no, another Christian, what am I supposed to do now? But Root Source is the first organization that has recognized that it's our mandate to davka, as they say in Israel, actually not to try to walk around it, but to face it directly and take it. And we're going, it's taking off like a storm.
Now, if people are interested in enrolling,
Yes.
enlisting in the project, is it very difficult, the courses, or are they? How do you start them? Are they gradual, or in other words, do they need to know Hebrew, or do they need to know a bit of background for them?
As I said before, the idea of knowledgeable Jewish teachers and rabbis teaching non-knowledgeable Jews is something that's been going on for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So teachers nowadays, Jewish teachers, are used to teaching people with minimal background. So it's not so difficult for us to teach in English and to make sure that our students feel comfortable. But right now, like I said, we have about a dozen courses that you can choose from. Take the ones that you're interested in. We have, like I said, a free month-long trial period, and then afterwards you choose which 2 channels you're interested to have in your basic membership. If you want more, then you can sign on for more, mix and match. We try to come towards our students to make it the best experience that they can have.
And they can, maybe you can just remind them of the website and the detail. Is
Sure.
it just rootsource.com?
It's www.root-source.com.
And you can go on that now and have a look at that,
Sure.
and they can enlist in that. You know, it's quite amazing to see. You know, it says rabbis teaching Christians in new online learning courses, and it says a new group is trying to turn rabbis into internet video stars. According to this, is the Times of Israel. But you know, it's something when we look at Isaiah chapter 2, it's something really of this time, and you know. So who are the majority of the people? Are they they're Anglo? First of all, it's Anglo. So we're looking at
most of the people that we that come on board are from the United States. Both Bob and I are from the United States, so we're used to that. But we've got a lot from Europe. We've got a lot from South Africa, New Zealand, and we've got a lot from all sorts of places where English is not their first language. I've already gotten requests to translate it into Portuguese, Spanish, French, Russian, and you took this off from the English language timesofisrael.com website, but there's a Chinese Times of Israel website as well, and we've already been featured there as well. So we're looking forward to launch a program in Chinese as well. So you took me away from my private tutor in Chinese. I'm working on it.
So,
not just kidding.
So it's amazing to see that you're reaching the different nations
Yes.
with this, and how do you see that it growing? I mean, one of the questions I think I was thinking about was that we have groups. I know there are at home. There's even groups of people who get together, who are interested in Israel, interested in the news, interested in features, interested in Hebrew, interested in what's going on, fascinated by the fact that after 2,000 years, the Jewish people are returning to the land of Israel. This is coming out. So we know there are groups of people, Gidon, who is it possible for a group of people to do the course together, or
I'm definitely looking forward to that. One of the we're so busy, Bob and I, and we have another couple of people that we're also starting to bring in just to keep our noses above the water. But one idea that we have is to partner with churches, with Christian colleges and universities to, as we say in Hebrew, lavo likrat, to come forward to people who want to learn, to make it as easy for as many people as possible. So this is the model that we've been doing until now that I described, that you get a single 10 or 15 minute lesson once a week, and you get a little drip, and this is my weekly my weekly fix. But if there will be a Christian college, maybe in the UK, who's interested in running an entire course online, then we're open to it. This is our mandate, to teach the nations about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
And we'll put some details on the screen how you can contact Gidon if you're a group or if you're a college that would like to know more about the Torah and more about the depths of Torah. And it's amazing how that you're doing this, because it's like you're going into the ocean, because it's just unlimited. And like the ethics of the fathers is such a fascinating, and maybe it's something we can talk about another time, but it's such a huge resource for everybody, and for Christians. They can enjoy, they can read it, and
It's true.
Absolutely amazing. I think we're out of time, Gidon. It's been so good to have you with us. Thank you so much for coming into the studio today.
I'm looking forward to coming again.
Thank you.
And I'd like to say hello to everybody outside.
So it's been great to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you'd like to email us, don't forget you can email us at info@inthelastdays.com. And the website is www.inthelastdays.com. And remember, we're living in the last days.
You've been watching In the Last Days, a TV program with Martin and Natalie Blackham, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. If you would like to financially support the program or find out about conferences, meetings, or ministry products, then please contact us with the details on your screen. Visit our easy-to-use website at www.inthelastdays.com and register for our free e-newsletter. Get the latest news from Israel, product information, online video teaching, or watch today's TV program at a time that's convenient to you. Thank you again, friends and partners, for making this program possible.
See you same time, same station for the next program from In the Last Days.